friends. So, Zach and I had a reoccurring discussion at dinner tonight, specifically around Christmas and gift giving, especially now that we have the kiddos. But this has been a discussion that we've had since we met 16 years ago, and it's just evolved and is a bit different now that we have the two girls. And so we just figured we'd put it out there. Curious if there's any other families that are also having this discussion. Him and I have very different viewpoints as it relates to gift giving during Christmas, and that really stems from the fact that we were raised very differently. And so really just continuing to try and come to a happy medium, which I know can be difficult with me. And so, so just to give you a little bit of background, I'm an only child, and I was raised that as I needed things, and sometimes when I wanted things, I would get them. So therefore, birthdays and Christmas weren't as big of a deal. We didn't save things for those times. And not that I never got plenty of gifts during Christmas, but it was more like big gifts. In fact, the one that I can really remember was waking up and having our Nintendo set up for us and ready to roll. So, but again, they were big things, like one big thing or two big things, and maybe like our stockings. So, as whereas Zach, growing up, was a little bit different.
Yeah, the birthdays and Christmases were when we typically got those kind of gifts. We got school stuff and supplies, and that doesn't relate to this, but Christmas and birthdays were a bigger deal because we didn't, like I said, get things throughout the year. They were, saved for these bigger moments
Gray monsters
of the year, of each year.
Yes. So again, Christmas and birthdays were the big times.
Right.
So you didn't really get things in between.
Right.
So that's like the big difference in the way that him and I look at things and have looked at things since we have been together, let alone been married. But my kind of mentality and idea of gifts, and specifically Christmas gifts, has morphed as the years have gone by, but more so since we've had the girls. And most of that stems from the fact that I just want to make sure that we're raising girls that have a heart of giving, and obviously receiving always feels good. But I just want to make sure that there isn't like some crazy level of expectation. And Zach is super awesome at being very frugal, getting up crazy early, and going to the Black Friday sales and doing all of those awesome things.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't get too crazy, but
yeah. No, I mean he just gets the things that they like, and he's so good at gift giving. He knows exactly what they like. We always joke that he's the fun parent and I'm like the practical one, which is ultimately what gets us into these debates
right.
here.
I can still think more like a kid, I guess, because of the memories I have from those specific times of year, especially Christmas, which we're talking about right now.
Right. So ultimately at dinner tonight, we got on the topic of, okay, what are we thinking for the girls? And I came up with the idea, and I think I threw this out there last year and maybe even the year before, of, well, there were 3 wise men, so why don't the girls get 3 presents each? And then obviously Christmas is about giving and not receiving, so then of course we can find a family, not necessarily from Toys for Tots, or there's nothing wrong with those organizations, but I want a more personal touch on this for the girls especially. And so, again, we would identify a family, and then they would give each of the family members a gift. So that's something that I threw out, and that sparked a little bit of a.
Well, that's a great idea. The part where I was a little in disagreement was the whole three wise men, three gifts. Okay, that's great, and it kind of brings in the whole story of the birth of Jesus Christ. But then I view it as kind of a limiting, and not that things get crazy around here. It's nothing like some kind of floor covered with presents type. It's not like that. But if I want to, or if I see something that I thought would be cool for the girls to have, learn from, play with, I don't necessarily want to be like, well, I've already purchased three things I can't. That may not happen, but it might. But I don't want to be limited on what I can do for my kids. And like I said, it's not. I never get crazy. It's never just ridiculous. But that's just how I feel about it. And the whole sponsoring a family of some sort is a great idea. I don't have anything with that. It's just the other, like I said before, the kind of I feel limited on maybe what I can do for my kids and my wife too. So
Yeah, and that's another funny thing. So I'm the worst when it comes to surprising. Like, I'll find something for him, and then I want to give it to him right now because I can't wait. And he wants something under the tree to open. So, yeah, it's very different. I'm a now person. I guess that really applies to this whole discussion.
yeah, because you
And
got
he's
things
more of a saver.
now when you needed them, and yeah, I was had to
You
wait,
savored.
which has its drawbacks. But then you have the anticipation, the excitement, the buildup of if you want to call it the magic of Christmas. How I'm thinking like a kid now, how I used to feel and how special that morning was for us. So
everyone, we want to hear.
yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your ideas?
How do you do it? So,
Let us know.
signing out for the night. All right.
Good night.